Hi, this is Jimmy. Back for more Test cricket previews. This time is the big one, the England-India series that starts next month, around the 22nd, I believe. Much anticipated series. I'm actually going to do this a little bit different than the format of my other videos. I'm just going to tell you what I think will be the result and then go from there. I think England will win this series 2-1. I think 2-0 is more likely than 1-1. I think if India get a split out of this, I think they'll be doing extremely well, and I don't think that's very likely. And so we'll start from there, and I'll actually go through the reasons why. And what I want to really do to get kicking off here is to talk about the reasons why someone might think India could win, and why I don't think that's going to happen. The first of those is Harbhajan Singh, and England's play of slow bowling generally. India's big problem here is going to be getting 20 wickets, for reasons I'll talk about in a second, but I don't think they're going to be able to win the way they like to win tests, which is to put 600 up and then sort of chip away over a period of time and trying to get those wickets back. So I think they're going to need to actually be proactive in getting wickets, and that really starts with Harbhajan Singh, who's the guy with 5 10-wicket matches. The rest of the team's only got one between them, and that's Zaheer Khan. And so they're relying on him, and they're relying on the belief that England can't play slow bowling very well. And I mentioned in a video previewing England-Sri Lanka series that England haven't been tested by slow bowling much, and this is a question. How did that series go? Herat took 6 wickets in the 3 tests, so obviously not a great return. It was 108 overs worth of bowling, so it was, as far as Herat is concerned, they passed that test. Now, obviously, Herat isn't the same as Harbhajan Singh, but that's still a promising sign for the English. But about Harbhajan Singh more generally, Harbhajan Singh hasn't taken more than 8 wickets in his last 26 matches. That's the longest such streak of his career. And for a guy that's really a boom or bust bowler, I mean, this is a guy that when he bowls poorly is not a good bowler. I mean, he has those 5 10-wicket matches in his 96 that he's played. In those matches, he averages 15.62. In the other 89 matches, he averages 34.72. So they're really reliant on one of these 4 tests being basically a Harbhajan test where he can take 10 or 12 wickets. That hasn't happened in a long time. It hasn't happened in more than 4 years. So relying on that is a bit of a fool's gambit, and again I'll talk about the England batting card in a moment. He's also bowling worse than he has in the past. He's batting better, but he's not bowling as well. He's in the last 3 years he's taking 4.1 wickets a match at 35.67. Previous to that, he was taking 4.2 at 30.89. So he's bowling a lot of overs to get those wickets, which is good for India. But the production's slightly down, and the econ rate and the amount of overs that he's bowling has also had a negative effect on his average. So expecting Harbhajan to come in on a white horse and save this Indian team in terms of attacking the batting card is probably not a realistic target. It may be realistic once. So they may be able to get away with it once, and that might be the one test that they win, is when Harbhajan does go off. But the bigger picture, this is going to be a real concern. Where are the wickets coming from? And this is the question I keep coming back to, is where are they going to come from? And the next answer might be, well, Zaheer Khan. And people think about the Zaheer Khan test series in 2007. And in that series, he took 6 wickets a match and took him at 20.33. It included an 8-wicket match in Trent Bridge. That was the winning match of the series for India. And that was a good series. It was 4 years ago, and this is not the same England team. And I was talking to a gentleman on Facebook, and this is not your dad's England team. This is a much better English team, a much better English batting card. To be honest with you, the batting cards look quite similar. Peterson was there, Cook was there, Strauss was there, Bell was there. We're going to talk about Bell, Trott, and Cook in particular. They're not the same guys, and we'll get to that in a moment. People getting on the Zaheer bandwagon really are doing it based on a couple of things. One is his performance in England generally. Now, besides that test series, it's not that great. The 7 tests he's played in general, he averages 29.27 and takes 4.1 wickets a match, which is sort of presentable and okay. That's the larger body of work, but not that great. He's also aging. I mean, Zaheer Khan is now sort of 32, and he's been injured. Hasn't played a lot of cricket really. Missed some of the South Africa series as well. So it's asking a lot, again, for him to be this guy that's going to suddenly break through, particularly when, England's middle order is packed full of right-handed, and 2 of those danger batsmen are Bell and Trott, and they're right-handed. So, yes, he might be able to get Cook. Maybe you think he can neutralise Cook, but the bigger picture is still a concern. The other reason that people get on Zahir Khan is his apparent improvement recently. And some people go, oh, well, he's like the left-handed Jimmy Anderson. Last year he was great, no question about that. He took 5.2 wickets a match at 21.97. But more broadly, over the last 4 years, if he's played consistently, he's taking 4 wickets a match at 29.17, which is sort of okay. It's not anything more than okay that we should get really excited about. Whereas you look at Anderson and it's all trailing downwards towards the sort of 25 area. The other reason that people might go, well, hang on, what about England's bowling depth? And this has been a question that I raised and other people have raised consistently really since the start of the Ashes, and probably before that, but particularly when the spotlight was on the Ashes. They've only got 4 bowlers. Trott and Peterson are non-factors. They both only took 2 wickets in the Sri Lanka series. They're not bowling massive overs. They are relying on these 4 guys, and if one of them goes down, England are pretty much done in that Test match. Well, that's what you would have thought. Mind you, Anderson went down in that first Test against Sri Lanka, and they bowled him out in 26 overs in the second innings. So it's an extremely potent attack. What I guess I would say is that yes, there's a lot in the new ball. They're investing a lot there, but it's working. At the end of the day, you just go, this is just working. To give you a bit of an idea, in the last 14 bowling innings, teams have scored more than 310 just 4 times against England, which is obviously very low. 320, 350, that shouldn't be like an incredible batting performance, but it really has been against England recently. They've bowled teams out for less than 100 twice in those 14 times, and they've bowled them out for less than 263 more times. But they're really just consistent. They're consistently bowling teams out between 250 and 310, and keeping things manageable for their batting card. Consistency is really the word. I mean, when you're playing 4 bowlers and you're winning Test matches, you need them to be consistent. They've not yet allowed in those 14 innings a score over 500. And that's what India, I mentioned before about India, that's how they would like to win these Test matches, is by putting up 600 runs and then say go get them and then just bowling and bowling and bowling. I don't think it's going to happen. I know that India's batting card is better than Australia's. I know it's better than Sri Lanka's, but we'll come to that in a moment as well. But if they haven't put more than 514 tries, you might get it once in a drawn Test, but to do that consistently, I don't think that's a feasible option. And just the last point about the bowling depth thing, Swan's only bowling 40.2 overs, so 40 and 2/3 overs in the last 8 Tests, which is not a huge amount for a slow bowler. It's a largish amount. It's okay, but Murali was up in the 50s, 52 area. Swan's got potential there to fill some of that gap if they do put 400, 420 on them, and I think India probably will do that. I mean, let's not discredit the batting card. It's very, very good. Although we look at the next point I want to look at is in terms of India's batting depth versus England's batting depth. I had a look again at this same time period. So in this case, I actually looked at India starting the Australia series. So Australia, South Africa, and then the West Indies. Just the one Test there, obviously. They're averaging 82.9 runs per match after 6 wickets have fallen. England, in the same time period, again starting at the Ashes and moving forward, are averaging 107.7. That's a 25-run difference after you lose 6 wickets. So the last 4 wickets are worth 25 more. That's not surprising. Pryor, Swan, Broad, very dangerous. Harbhajan, certainly much better, but not on someone like, probably around about Swan's level, certainly not someone like Stuart Broad's level. Dhoni and Pryor, there is a difference there. Dhoni is not as good as Matt Pryor in terms of a batting option, just not. So 25 runs there, that's relevant, that's helpful, and that's going to mitigate at the very least. Even if you do think India's batting card is just really amazingly the best we've ever seen, that kind of thing. Considering how England are batting, and that's my next point, that 25 runs is likely to make that more or less of a stalemate. And in the bowling, I don't think there's a comparison. I want to look at England's form, and this is really what it comes down to, is how well England are playing, and it's exceptionally well. It's Australia in 2001 level well at the moment. They've only had to bat once in 5 of their last 8 Tests. They've won 4 of those by an innings. They've had rain that's mitigated 3 of the draws in Brisbane and the 2 last Tests against Sri Lanka. If you look at the players and how they're playing, Anderson's amazing, really, in the last 8 Tests. He's missed 1, so 7 Tests. He's taken 4.4 wickets a match at 26.71. Excellent numbers, full stop. But amazingly, he's got no 5-wicket innings in that. He's just consistently hitting the mark. He's only taken less than 2 wickets in an innings 3 times in his last 7 Tests, and one of those was the 1 for 107 that Australia got against Australia got in Brisbane. So he's the mainstay of the card, and this consistency point is critical point in terms of how England are performing. Anderson is the absolute emblematic of that. No 5-wicket innings, but hitting 4.4 a match. He's just on point all the time. You know what you're going to get from him, which is critical. Chris Tremlett's been a revelation. In that same time period, start of the Ashes through 5.3 wickets a match at 23.38, just demolishing cards. If you're watching him, he's getting a lot of bounce, a lot of seam movement. He's using the slips a huge amount. He's a real concern for India. That new ball pairing there, you're looking at 10 wickets between them. Whereas if you look at Sharma and Srisanth, as I mentioned in my India-West Indies preview, you're getting half that production. So, 5 bowls go as far as they take them, but, Cook. Alistair Cook, can't say enough about him. I know everyone knows he's batting well. I don't know if they know quite how well he's batting. He had a perfect series against Sri Lanka. He made 50 or more in every single innings he played. In fact, he's made a score in every single innings he's played since the start of the Ashes, excepting the Perth Test. So in the last 8 tests he's played, if you take that one test out, every time Alistair Cook has gone to the crease, he's made 50. How are you beating these guys? Again, I know Tendulkar's good. I know Dravid's good. I know Laxman's good. I know Sehwag's good. But this guy is Bradman-esque level good. He's averaging 115.6, just to give you an idea. Scored over 1,100 runs in 8 tests. I mean, the guy is just out of this world, playing out of his mind. And he's making someone like Jonathan Trott, who's playing also great, look pedestrian by comparison, but Trott's averaging 79.11 in the same time. He's scoring in 45.5% of his innings. He's hitting essentially 3.7, every 3.7 innings. Cook is doing that one every 2.2 innings. And these guys are batting out of their skulls at the moment. It really are. Ian Bell, underrated. He's been not out half the time. He's 660 runs, averaging 110. He's scoring in 8 out of 10 innings he's playing. He's scoring essentially 1 in every 3 times to the crease. And he's got 2 not out scores below 100. So that century rate could be just as good as Cook's. What about India? How are they looking recently? Well, half their guys aren't even playing in West Indies. I understand that some of them might be resting and so on, but Zaheer Khan's officially out with an injury, Tendulkar's out with an injury, Sehwag's out with an injury, and that seems definitely legitimate, and Gambhir's out with an injury. So you got half the team's not even playing cricket at the moment, and one have played for 8 months by the time the series started, 7 months by the time the series started. The gulf couldn't be wider as far as I'm concerned, and it wasn't a particularly impressive performance against the West Indies. To be fair, the guys that are actually going to be batting in England, Dravid, for instance, and probably Rayner, I think he's likely to be at number 6, did bat well. And their bowling, which I did say was the key issue, their new ball bowling did perform, and that's great. But they still only beat West Indies by 63 runs. England are on another level at the moment than India are. And they're playing at home. I think 2-1 is probably conservative. I give certain respect to the Indian batting card of being able to bat their way out of trouble in at least one test. And I know how good they are, I really do. But if you look at all those numbers and you look at what England are doing on the field over the last sort of 12 months or so, there's no way you could possibly suggest to me that India can win in England. Unless Zaheer Khan plays out of his mind, and he hasn't over the last 4 years, played well last year. Harbhajan Singh goes back to 2001 Harbhajan Singh. And where are the wickets coming from, guys? Anyway, that's my thoughts. England 2-1. I think, as I said before, 2-0 is more likely than a split. If India gets 1-1, then they're doing amazingly well. I think the chances of India winning this series are practically 0. And I do respect what they're doing, but I think this is probably the best team in the world at the moment in England, and they're firing on all cylinders. 7 of their guys, Cook, Trott, Bell, Pryor, Tremlett, Anderson, Swan, playing best cricket of their careers in the prime of their careers. India's taking a bunch of 35-plus-year-old guys, and they're playing well, and Tendulkar's playing well, but it's easy to see them falling off precipitously. I can't see that for England. 2-1, England. Thank you.